In the murky depths of the Amazon jungle, beneath the tangled embrace of creeping vines and the whisper of heavy, humid air, there lies a silent horror, an anaconda, the colossal serpent, gliding through the water with a grace that belies a grotesque affliction. This is no ordinary snapshot of wilderness majesty. Instead, it introduces us to a dark revelation, a living, breathing testament to nature's more unsettling mechanisms. Along the mighty, slick body of the anaconda is a wound festering with a parasitic invasion, so vile it twists the viewer's sense of the natural world into a strange blend of fascination and repulsion. This isn't just a scar. It's a mutilated landscape, riddled with oozing sores and twisting burrows where parasites thrive, feeding on flesh and blood, turning this titan of the jungle into a host for creatures far smaller, but infinitely more sinister. These parasites, tiny but tenacious, have colonized the anaconda's skin and deeper tissues with relentless zeal. They claw, suck, and burrow with a methodical cruelty born from eons of evolutionary calculus, transforming the snake's powerful flesh into a festering nightmare. What we see here is not simply a battle of survival. It is a vivid incursion, a biological siege where the invader does not just steal resources but wounds, alters, and often determines the fate of its enormous host. Skin eruptions thicken and crack, seeping with a dark, viscous fluid, a cocktail of decay and bacterial growth that breeds secondary infections. Flecked with dead tissue and encased in a slimy biofilm, the parasites escape detection to the untrained eye. Yet their presence is betrayed by the anaconda's faltering movements and the telltale signs of pain in its reptilian gaze. The infestation presents a multi-layered paradox. Parasites, in their simplest form, can be seen as evolutionary marvels, organisms exquisitely tailored to exploit their hosts, often beneath the glittering surface of the ocean, where light flickers weakly through cool depths. An unsettling scene unfolds, one that defies the pristine image we often hold of marine life. Here, in this unforgiving underwater theater, a solitary dolphin drifts, its sleek, silver-blue body marred by a grotesque wound ravaged by a relentless army of muscles. What might first catch the eye as a simple injury quickly reveals itself as a harrowing landscape of decay and infestation. The wound, raw and swollen, is a dark crater peppered with clusters of sharp, jagged shells that grasp and embed themselves like tiny, unyielding parasites. Each muscle, a hard-shelled invader, anchors itself impossibly deep in the dolphin's flesh, turning what should have been a clean, fluid injury into a festering host of decay and discomfort. The sight is both repellent and compelling, a biochemical battleground where life and death dance in the most disquieting fashion. Missile infestation, while seeming like a minor inconvenience to the untrained eye, is in fact a sinister condition born from a complex interplay of environmental factors and the vulnerable biology of the host. These shellfish, normally harmless when firmly attached to rocks or submerged debris, here find an unusual habitat in the damaged skin of the dolphin. Their veliger larvae, microscopic and free-floating, latch onto any suitable surface, and through some unfortunate sequence of events, perhaps a weakened immune system or a compromised skin barrier, our dolphin became an unwilling home. Once settled, mussels use byssal threads, tough, glue-like filaments, to anchor onto the dolphin's flesh, resisting removal and growing in clusters. These threads and the physical presence of the mussels cause constant irritation, preventing healing and exposing the wound to secondary infections by bacteria. Deep within the shadowed fringes of an unforgiving savanna, an extraordinary yet harrowing spectacle unfolds. A black lion, a creature draped in a rare and somber elegance, strides with a majestic air once revered by all who dared to witness its power. But today, this sovereign of the wild wears a grotesque crown of agony. A horrific cocoon-like wound festers upon its flank, an unnatural armor crafted not by nature's grace, but by the ruthless clutches of parasitic invaders. This monstrous blister, pulsating with disease and decay, disrupts the regal silhouette against the sun-scorched earth. A chilling reminder that no beast, no matter how mighty, is immune to the creeping horrors that lurk unseen in nature's darker underbelly. The wound itself is a landscape of biological terror. Mucus-coated larvae nestle deeply within the cavernous sacs of torn flesh. Their bodies glisten with a sickly sheen as they twitch under the thin membrane of the infected skin. In these cocoons, the parasites undergo grotesque transformations, feeding voraciously on the lion's living tissue, their movements sending spasms of pain through the animal. As the lion slowly succumbs to exhaustion, patches of its fur fall away, exposing raw, oozing muscle beneath. A canvas for an infestation both relentless and merciless. Flies, drawn like vultures to the scent of decay, swarm aggressively, their buzzing a sinister soundtrack to the lion's suffering. The air is thick with the stench of rot and blood, a pungent reminder that this wound is not merely a physical ailment, but a gateway to a deeper, parasitic war. These parasites are no ordinary pests. They belong to the depths of the savanna, where the golden grass weaves like a living sea. A sinister spectacle unfolds. A black lion, a rare and majestic beast, lies battered and broken by an invisible enemy. Not the clash of claws or the bite of rival fangs, but a relentless, grotesque force burrowing into its flesh. The wound sprawls across its flank, a trembling maw of festering rot, pulsating with a disturbing life of its own. This is no mere injury. It is a battleground, host to monstrous parasites that feast, multiply, and degrade the lion's very essence. To witness this is to confront nature's darkest theater, where survival becomes a transformation into decay, and strength is undermined from within by tiny creatures, hell-bent on consumption. These parasites are far from benign. They invade through the smallest breach. A damaged hair follicle or a scratched skin patch, exploiting the lion's vulnerability. Once inside, they carve tunnels beneath the skin, creating tunnels and chambers in a honeycomb of suffering. These larvae, often maggot-like in form, secrete enzymes that break down tissue with surgical precision. The lion's immune system wages a desperate war, but the parasite's reproduction rate outpaces any resistance. The wound swells, oozes, and smokes with infection. The smell, a rancid miasma of decay and rot, hangs heavy in the dry air. Flies swarm, perpetuating the horror, attracted by the smell, and depositing more eggs to continue the cycle. Tiny invertebrates burrow and feast, turning living tissue into a loathsome buffet. Through the parasite's microscopic lens, the story is chillingly clear. The lion is both host and prison. Its body becomes a grotesque landscape of reality's raw, unfiltered cruelty. Every twitch of muscle, every thickened breath is a testament to the brutal intimacy between predator and parasitic prey. The black lion, a symbol of power and stealth, reduced to a fragile battleground where parasites thrive. It's a raw, unflinching look at the natural world's lesser-known, uglier conflicts, silent battles that play out far from the sunlit plains, and inspiring roars. The parasite infestation itself is a dark symphony of evolutionary cunning. These organisms, often myisis-causing flies, have adapted to exploit large mammals, finding niches where they face little resistance. Their larvae, once beyond the skin's barrier, deep within the tangled shadows of the rainforest, where sunlight barely kisses the forest floor. A jaguar prowls, an emblem of raw power and the untamed wild, but beneath its sleek fur lies a chilling secret, a nightmare cocooned in flesh, a horrific infestation of parasites. Their grotesque cocoons festering on the jaguar's skin like unnatural tumors. The viscous swellings bulge grotesquely, each a small, gruesome chamber where writhing larvae hatch and mature, feeding on the very blood and tissue of this majestic predator. It's a scene that repels and fascinates, exposing the jaguar not as the untouchable sovereign of the jungle, but as an unwilling host to a parasitic invasion that threatens both its dignity and survival. The jaguar's movements are slow, weighed down by the unbearable itch of thousands of microscopic invaders burrowing beneath the surface. These parasitic larvae emerge from eggs deposited by tiny flies, whose life cycles are intricately tied to this blood-soaked ecosystem. Once the larvae embed themselves, they tunnel deeply into the jaguar's flesh, forming hard, pulsing cocoons that flare angry red or black with decay. Underneath the jaguar's regal exterior, a battlefield rages, a war of biology where the predator becomes prey to tiny, insidious architects of death. The jaguar's skin is torn, leaking fluids that attract scavenging insects, turning its once silent stalking grounds into a symphony of buzzing, gnawing horror. And yet, life continues, grim, unyielding, and merciless. This parasite infestation is no mere discomfort. It's a slow, systemic siege that erodes strength and severs. In the vast, untamed wilderness of North America, where the sun sets in a blaze of orange, and the wind whispers secrets of ancient times, a creature roams that has become a symbol of strength and resilience, the bison. But today, we delve into a darker tale, one that reveals the hidden horrors lurking beneath the surface of this majestic beast. Picture, if you will, A bison standing alone on the plains, its massive frame casting a long shadow against the fading light. Yet, as we draw closer, the beauty of this creature is marred by a grotesque sight. A horrific wound, a gaping hole in its side, oozing with a foul mixture of blood and pus. This is not merely an injury. It is a battleground, a testament to the relentless assault of parasites that have taken up residence in its flesh. As we explore this gruesome reality, we must confront the unsettling truth about parasite infestations. These tiny, often invisible invaders can wreak havoc on their hosts. And in the case of our bison, they have turned a once mighty animal into a shell of its former self. The wound, a festering sore, is a direct result of a parasitic invasion, where organisms such as botflies, ticks, and various worms have made their home in the bison's body. The botfly, for instance, lays its eggs on the bison's skin, and as the larvae hatch, they burrow into the flesh, creating a cavity that becomes a perfect breeding ground for infection. Bison, unaware of the insidious nature of its plight, continues to graze, oblivious to the war being waged within. Ticks, those tiny bloodsuckers, are another common foe. They latch onto the bison's thick hide, feeding on its blood, and transmitting diseases that can lead to severe health complications. The bison's immune system, once a formidable defense, is now overwhelmed, struggling to combat the onslaught of these parasitic invaders. The side of the bison, once a proud symbol of the wild, now reduced to